Things here. Mr. Speaker, today I'm just here for certain deliberations. There was a question yesterday why Raila Odinga has gone to China with William Kipkirkisa Yomoyera, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know very well that maybe I normally talk history before I jog your mind to the current, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while you are walking around Africa, you will understand that where the Chinese are, the most populated country with Chinese origin is South Africa. A lot of people may ask, why is this happening? The first interaction which has been recorded here and can be referred is in 15th century. That the explorer called Zeng came to Africa to ensure to see Africa and the land beyond, Mr. Speaker. After the exploration, Mr. Speaker, the Chinese came back in 20th century. Their sole function, they came as laborers, and they were working for colonies in Africa, so that they build maybe roads or other things, but most of them went back, Mr. Speaker. But it is the only one country in Africa, which is called South Africa, that Chinese, most of them remained there. But other countries, Chinese left for their country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is something called open door policy, which was introduced by Mao. The Mao strategy, he knew that going forward, the capitalistic nations will be interfering with their affairs at the East, Mr. Speaker. So this individual ensured that he started a serious trading partnership around the world, Africa included. And you would ask yourself, Mr. Speaker, why is it that presidents around Africa, they are going to China? This is a strategy which Mao put in place in 1978. So coming to 2000, when Chinese started now to come back to Africa, building roads, staying around, and doing a lot of projects in countries in Africa, Mr. Speaker, this is now the baseline. This is now the baseline that Chinese realize that the IMF, the World Bank, and the Western nations, they give you loans, but again they are following you. What are you doing with that loan? And they now controlling you. And those are few interference that we have encountered in this country, where we allowed people like IMF to loan us money in Kenya. Those are why Kibaki in 2003, he chose to go east, and Chinese gave us an opportunity to loan us and to build something which you can see. Not stories where the West were bringing here without any tangible evidence that this is the development from America, this is the development from Europe or any other country. Mr. Speaker, we must state very clear that today, Kenya signed Asia Infrastructure Investment with the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, the cooperation between 106 countries, and Kenya is now one of those countries. And the investment bank will be assisting African countries to build infrastructures. They have signed it today at around 11 o'clock Kenyan time. That's when they signed it. So, Mr. Speaker, what I want to remind the people who are here, what China has done for the last maybe 50 or 70 years, I think Kenya, if given opportunity with the people, and yesterday I was reading something, Mr. Speaker, here, and the Constitution of Kenya, if we cannot follow it in full and implement it fully, then we should disband it altogether. And for Kenya to be even more than China, for Kenya to be even more than Singapore, we must check the mental capacity of voters, Mr. Speaker. And the Constitution is clear on that.
You as a voter.
You as a voter. Mr. Speaker, and I want to repeat for the record, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just for the records. The article, and I'm reading it for the second time, and this is for the last time, Mr. Speaker. The registration as a voter in Kenya, that is Article 83 of the Constitution. Article 83(1) states, 1A states that you must be an adult. For an evidence that you are an adult, you must hold an ID, identity card that you are a Kenyan. You must have a passport. And to get that passport, you must present your ID. That now means you are an adult. But the IBC, the Parliament of Kenya, and the government are failing to implement the Constitution fully. What are they not implementing? They are not now following the B part. It's not declared to be an sound mind. These people, you go to IBC booth, you want to register as a voter. The fellow usually asks for you an ID, but they must ask for an evidence from a recognized doctor that you are normal, Mr. Speaker, for you to register as a voter. Because we need a normal people, because abnormal people, as sisters, they are many. So they vote for wrong leaders, and that's why the interference and what we are suffering here. So there are abnormal people here. Some of them are looking at it. But Mr. Speaker, that's why you are abnormal. So, Mr. Speaker, I finalize. Order. I beat people. So, Mr. Speaker, I've said some of them. If you are one of them, I'm sorry. I think the Madare Mental Hospital should be expanded, and a lot of per county, 2 or 3 per county, so that most of these people should go and be checked, or not most, everyone, go and be checked whether they are normal or abnormal. Then you are given a card that you have been satisfied that you are normal and you are an adult. Now unaenda kwa IBC unasema sasa I want to be a voter. So that we don't get a tyranny of numbers that are abnormal, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I'm finalizing this. Before even we blame William Ruto, before even we blame any individual in the government, we must check on the mental capacity of those who are putting them in power. Yes, Mr. Speaker. Because I'm looking sometimes during an electioneering period, you listen on how individual is reasoning on question of economy of this republic. But you're wondering, because there are many, and you don't want to tell them the truth that they are stupid, you just keep quiet, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as bunge la mwananchi and the people must come out, and this thing must be an act of parliament. That the first evidence that you should be a voter is that you are normal. And you cannot just tell me that you are normal, but you are telling me what you cannot be justifiable on the question of economy, on the question of credit. And Mr. Speaker, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I'm finalizing before those concerned and questions. Before those concerned, there's a flow of thought, Mr. Speaker. Flow of thought, Mr. Speaker. Where you have no flow of thought, Mr. Speaker.
I have a concern, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, some is using the Constitution to justify unsoundness. Why can also use the same Constitution to justify normality?
What are you saying?
Yes, because Mr. Speaker, himself, Mr. Speaker, is using us, is trying to put it this way, Mr. Speaker. It is the constitution that needs to dictate who is normal and who is
on the person. There is a point and a letter.
Mr. Speaker, some is reading the constitution selective. Is not interpreting the constitution the way it's supposed to be. He was to tell us how to identify this person who is unsound, and how also to look for the normality of this person. He cannot only just use the constitution. On the other hand, is supporting the normality. On the other hand, is also rejecting abnormality. So where is he actually directing us?
So what are you saying?
You are speaking from both sides, Mr. Speaker. In one side, you are supporting normality. On the other side, he's also talking about abnormality, Mr. Speaker. So he is speaking from both sides. From your analysis, Sam is speaking from both sides. Yes, he is not categorical.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, you sir.
Mr. Speaker,
to member of parliament. I heard that member of parliament is saying when a voter registered, someone has registered as a voter, the first thing we must do before election, we should take him or her to Madari for a checkup, for a mental check. But what I can tell member on the floor, during campaign period, we are looking for a candidate who is serving a convincing manifesto. When your manifesto are not convincing, even a normal person will not vote for you. Will not vote for you. So, yeah, we are following the manifesto. Let me tell you. During campaign period, Ruto really tell people big promises, true or false? Big promises. But the problem is action. Ruto is not acting. When Baba was campaigning, Baba told us we have 6K for those who are for normal Kenyans. True or false? No. So those who followed manifesto of William Samuel Ruto, which were convincing to them, are the people who voted for the president. If we leave out, sijui IBC wamefanya nini, Chebukati nini, I think that's the thing.
Yeah, so what's your question?
Some should not
question. Okay, member. Okay. This is the end of this nonsense. So let's go to other matters. Number one. I'm the new speaker.
I can even fire you. I want to finalize something. So give me a chance.
okay, Speaker. You can even tell
Can some help us interpret this, Mr. Speaker? From the same constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Sam is reading from Article 83 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. And Article 83A says, a person qualified for registration as a voter at election or referendum is the person qualified for registration, not for election.
So thank you.
No,
Let
Sam.
me interpret.
No, I've not completed. No, Mr.
I am a first learner, but understood what you are saying.
What Sam is reading, Sam is not reading the constitution the way it's supposed to be read. Mr. Speaker, Sam is talking of a voter. But the constitution says a person qualified for registration as a voter at election or as registration. Not a, so these are the qualifications of registration. So one is an adult. An adult citizen. 2 is not declared to be of unsound. Are you getting that? He is not declared to be of unsound mind. So Sam, what you are interpreting is very negative and crude and relative and very a big lie, Mr. Speaker. We are talking of election
Give me time.
You are talking of
I
election
respond.
term, but the constitution is talking of registration. So what are you telling us?
So stand there.
Okay, before you answer, before you answer, I'm giving you the chance, yeah? Before you answer, let's also be considerate of these media persons, yeah? Sababu wanataka pia topic zingine. So let me give you 1 minute to respond, then watu wapige ile content.
But they can go.
No.
So, Mr. Speaker, let me say this.
Yes.
Why you think that it is two of us?
I'm the speaker.
Oh, Mr. Obiero, are you asking me then discussing it there?
Okay, respond.
I'm expecting an individual who asks a question does not know and should be assisted by serious people like us. Yes, so let me assist people like Obiero. Obiero, for the last time, I'm teaching you. This article talks on the question of registration as a voter. So, Obiero, you are still discussing and I'm teaching you. You are abnormal. So these are abnormal people I'm talking about. So what am I saying, Mr. Speaker?
So once you have registered, you must vote.
First of all, for you to make a decision that you want to register as a voter, in the future, there is probability that you will vote. So what am I saying? That this article is asking an adult person with a sound mind to register as a voter. So if you are an adult, sound mind, you are registering as a voter, that means in future you can vote. So what am I saying? After you being an adult with a national ID, abnormal people like Obiero should be taken to Madari, or the Madari should come here, then pick people like Obiero and be satisfied that their mental capacity can make a clear decision on behalf of Republic of Kenya.
Because
So, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, when I will fire you. So, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize,
Yes.
the people, and it should be, we must have a cause. The people should pick a cause to fight for. Before you fight a leader, check on people who are electing that leader. Those people must be normal and